Politics today. We've had him on before, Mike Araujo, with Jobs with Justice, now a candidate for City Council here in Providence, Ward 13, the seat being vacated by Brian Principe. Thanks for joining us today.
Of course, thanks for having me.
So this is a decision that doesn't come lightly to folks, the decision to run for office. Talk with us about what led up to this for you, that you said, I want to run for the seat, and why.
Of course. Really it's because I just want to be a voice for working people at City Hall and from Ward 13. Also because my family has a history of public service, and I've been working as an organizer, and it goes back a pretty long way, and I feel like this is how I can best serve my community.
So were you surprised when Principe said he was stepping down?
Yeah, a little. I feel like he had a really great, his last year was really wonderful. He got a lot done, especially with the Community Safety Act, and went really far building bridges for people. So I was a little shocked by that, yeah.
So you talk about representing and organizing, again, the working community, if you will. What are the really big issues facing Ward 13?
Well, sure. So it's Ward 13 is not a wealthy ward. We have some of the highest rates of food stamps and assisted living in the city. And then we have this huge disparity in housing costs and rents. And so probably cost of living is the number one in my community. But really, I'm just kind of most excited about going out to talk to people to figure out what their core issues are and seeing out how we can come up with a solution together. So
the official kickoff is in fact tomorrow.
Yeah, 3:30.
But you had a soft launch, if you will, on social media.
Yeah, it was pretty soft.
Letting folks know that you're planning on running. What's the reaction been?
It's been pretty positive. So far, I guess a couple hundred supporters in a pretty short amount of time, which was really heartening. It's a new process for me, so I'm not exactly sure what the rules are for doing this. Like, this is a learning thing. So I'm hoping that the folks in the ward and the people who want to support learn with me on this process. So, yeah. So we're trying the actual announcement tomorrow at 3:30. Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about the nuts and bolts of where it's going to be and what you're going to tell folks. Basically, I'm sure what you're telling me here in studio now, and a little bit more.
There'll be more. So tomorrow at 3:30 in Armory Park, which is the park by the Armory, obviously, at the playground, which is sort of the heart of the neighborhood. We'll be announcing. There'll be community members. My family will be there. It's very exciting.
So let's talk a little bit, some issues facing the City Council right now. If you were in the seat, they're probably going to be passed, but if you will, we're kind of in the shadow of where the Fane Tower would be here in Providence. And as we know, the City Planning Commission voted to not endorse, again, the variance on the height, if you will, but it goes to the City Council to be able to make these decisions. And it was interesting. The 95 Commission was put into place to be independent, but this is something the city really has to have a say in. If you were in the council right now, what's your thought on what's happening with 195 and Fane in particular?
Well, Fane, I was disappointed to see them not approve the tower at the height they wanted it. We need construction in the city, and also we have a shortage of housing. So even if it's luxury housing, it relieves the burden in some of our neighborhoods when there's this new building that will take some higher dollars out of some of the communities. Might be a good, healthy choice. Also, folks who build things need to work. We need to see more towers in the air. We need to see more cranes. And so I was really a little disappointed about that. So if I was on the council now, I would definitely approve that.
Okay, interesting. On the council level, looking at that as well. What do you think are going to be the big issues if you were elected in 18, sort of moving forward? We know what's sort of in play now, but you talk about the residents' needs in Ward 13. What do you see as the big issues facing the city?
Well, so rent is number one. Rent is very, very much number one. I've been working with community organizations for the past year to discuss rent control in the city. Now, not to limit landlords' ability to earn a living, but really to make sure that we're stabilizing a market that's kind of out of control right now. Our families need to know that they'll be safe and secure in their houses today. And so that'll probably be number one. But then there'll be issues about access to green space, transportation, making sure our roads are good. Our community schools are as good as they possibly can be, especially because we're so lucky to have Asa Messer in our neighborhood, which is such a beautiful school, that everything we can do to get the highest paid, best teachers that we can in our neighborhood is what I'll be looking for.
And so let's talk a little bit about rent control. We've had DARE in here several months back when they officially kicked off the campaign. Now, they wanted to get something on the ballot that would allow voters to actually have a say. What's your sense on how that campaign's been received?
So if you talk to a tenant, it's pretty supportive. There's a lot of misinformation about it. So one of the ideas is that rent control would prevent landlords from raising the rent, but really what it does is prevent them from raising the rent outside of what the market can bear inside that area.
Okay.
Just to allow predictability inside of that market, because right now it's wildly unpredictable. And families who have been established for a long time are being forced out of their houses. So really the reception has been good when it can be explained well. Tenants get it intuitively. Landlords sort of have a visceral reaction to it right now, and so hopefully we can get past that.
And one of the elements isn't there, to have a board, if you will, a sounding board for tenants' rights.
Yeah, absolutely. So a board that can help advise the community on what's best for the neighborhood. It's a democratic process. It's something that we're all kind of used to. It's something that's familiar to us. And I think it's the best way to ensure that we can move forward as a city.
And so you're going to kick off tomorrow. How big is fundraising going to be as part of this? Do you feel the need to raise money, or is it more of the community awareness that you're looking to just...
So it's both. I mean, it's like I'm looking to make this campaign a movement-based campaign, so it'll be about mobilizing the base and getting people out and making sure that every voter that's able to vote votes. Hopefully they vote for me. But obviously money is part of it, and it's not bad to think of the money inside politics like that. We need to print posters, we need to make signs, we need to be able to feed people when they go out. Like, we want to be able to do that. I want to be able to do those things. It wouldn't feel right to not do that. So hopefully we can raise money pretty quickly. We've gotten some pretty good donations already, which is amazing, and thank you to all the people who've done that. And always looking for more. So.
And are you assembling your kitchen cabinet too as we speak?
I believe I am. So all of those terms are kind of new to me, so I'm kind of figuring all that stuff out now.
Oh, who's going to be advising you? I'm sure talking with folks with Jobs with Justice, other stakeholders in the community.
Yeah. So, obviously we have some support from former leaders from Jobs with Justice, some members from DARE, obviously my mom and sister and folks like that will be talking to me all the time, I'm sure. And also people I don't know yet. I mean, really, the voices we have are people I talk to all the time. Finding new people to help advise me on this is going to be the most exciting part.
Well, as you introduce yourself to the greater constituents and voters in general, we've had you here. We know your work with Jobs with Justice. What would you like folks to know today about Mike Araujo as you're kicking off tomorrow?
That's a good question. So, I've been a resident of I grew up here. Like, I was born in New York, but we came here when I was very young. I've lived in that neighborhood for the past 20 years. My family's there. My family goes back a long way, and that I just feel like this is the best way I can give back. I just want them to know that. I'm for them.
Okay. He's getting in the arena, Mike Araujo. We've had him on live before the official kickoff tomorrow at 3:30. We'll have more links to your campaign information as well, but wanted to just have you in as you've had the soft announcement. Appreciate your taking the time to come to GoLocal today.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike. I'll let you go around the corner.
Great.
Okay, one city council candidate. We have another one in the wings for you. Stephen Cianci is here to talk about his campaign. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.